So, oh man, I should do an intro to this show, shouldn't I? So, criteria, boom. We got a few things to look at here. If you haven't seen Real Talk before, or if you're tuning in live for the first time, this is a show we're looking at demo reel and portfolio and website content from up and coming folks in game audio. And it's all in the interest of hoping to find some ways they can improve their content, improve their communication of the content, all in the effort of getting that gig they're looking for. So, we're looking for a few things. We're looking at presentation, this down here, presentation, material selection, content quality, and distinction. So for presentation, we're looking at the website itself. We're looking at just flow and navigation. Michael's done a great job of putting this front and center. When we arrive on michaelclarkeaudio.com, there was no question in our mind at all about what Michael wants us to spend time on. So here it is. It's awesome. So looking at things like, it's not a website review stream, but we do look at just general kind of taste and flow and so forth. So, excuse me. And then for the reel, we're looking at the flow of the whole reel, telling the story, make sure it's not too long, not too short. It like has all the titles and bookends and everything's got accurate information, not too little, not too much. For material selection, we're looking at what is in your reel and the portfolio, what that might suggest to others about what your future ambitions are, what your current skill sets look like, what your past work history was like. And content quality is simply, is it good? If it's not, we'll try to let you know some places you could level up your work. And distinction, we're looking at whether or not your content stands out, because everyone wants that job you're looking for, and you need to stand out somehow if you want to try and land it. So, shall we? So, Michael, I know you're scheduled for like April 25th or something, so thank you for your patience. and I hope you've been keeping busy. I know it's not like you're making a reel just for us. Obviously, no one should be doing that. But regardless, thank you so much for your patience, and I hope this whole thing helps. I will say that immediately this is very promising, what this page looks like. I should do this, not in front of me. It's down here. So let's just glance through the website first. Michael Clarke, sound design, showreel projects, bio, a bunch of stuff. Oh, it's all okay. It's kind of all. It all lit up at once and then just one at a time, I see. I thought it was like one link when I moused over it. LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. Let's have a look. What do you got? Hey, he's serious. Look at this. Recording stuff. Typewriter. Cool. Good on you. This guy, noises. All right, IMDb. Really? Let's go. We got Tremors, A Cold Day in Hell. The Forgiven. All right. Good on you. And just gmail.com? Is that where it goes? I can't click that. It'll go to my email. But this looks like it says gmail.com on the bottom. So that might be something. I'm not going to click it. Other people can test it for themselves. They want to see if that's where it goes. I'm pretty sure that's where it's going, though. Okay, so projects. Let's go bio, actually. Bio first. Please? Waiting for. Is it going? There it is. Jeez. That was taking its time. Okay. Can we read this? I'm going to zoom in a bit more. How's that looking? That's a little better, right? Okay. So, hi, I'm Michael, a sound designer currently working as a studio assistant at a commercial post house in London and looking to expand and apply my skills in interactive audio. My journey in sound was sparked by my love of music as a teenager, which led me to take on a 2-year course in sound engineering at Cape Audio College in South Africa. It was there that I was introduced to the world of post-production when we were assigned to replace all the sound for Halo Wars cinematic. After college, I worked in a variety of fields to try and to broaden my skills and eventually settled in a post-production studio doing reversioning of foreign films for 3 years. Feeling that I had learned what I could from that, I decided to work as a freelancer where I got the chance to work as a sound editor on local television shows and some international feature films. After a year of freelancing, I decided to see what I could make of myself in the UK, where the scope of opportunity in audio is much bigger, and I've been there for almost 2 years. Cool. Good for you. It's a big leap to take. In my downtime, I love recording interesting sounds from my library, playing video games, lifting weights at the local gym, and getting out and watching bands as much as I can. Awesome. Okay. Let's go to projects. Giraffosaur. Yo, that's Eric, right? Oh, it says right there. This is Eric of Rockfish Games. I recognize that handle. Really glad to see you streaming again. Unfortunately, I have to give my kids baths right now. Yeah, do that. It's important. So I can't stick around for long, but wanted to show my mad appreciation and respect. Thanks, buddy. Thanks so much. Eric of Rockfish Games, working on Everspace 2. The Kickstarter is live, by the way, if you don't know about that. Let's say this right now, Everspace 2. Quick sideline. Freaking this game. This one. This is the one. They're on their way. Look at this. Not bad. Getting there. Best of luck, buddy. I'll put that here, I guess. Boom. Anyone's curious. Worth a look. Okay, let's go into showreel first, and we'll do projects after. Well, I'll glance projects really fast here. I'll glance projects. And we got a game jam thing. We got a sound effect. I know it. Penguin Playhouse. So 2 game jam things and a contest, looks like. Okay, let's see how the showreel looks. I see this image, and I doubt that is in one of these. So I'm curious what your showreel looks like compared to your projects page. Let's go play. Let's pause right away and go full screen. We got 1 minute and 6. Okay, cool. Full screen. My sound is at 5%, back up to 100%. And let's turn off my sidechain. And let's go Michael Clarke. Thanks, buddy. Okay, so a few issues right away. I did watch the whole thing. I didn't feel like I had to be moving on. Yeah, listen to Luke, by the way, Lazarus, in the chat. So, for example, right now, this title, I appreciate you have the black transparency behind it with the white on top. Makes so we can always read it. But the problem is you didn't do Battlefield 1 No Man's Land, and this kind of presentation of text suggests heavily that you did, and I am certain, based on that bio and the things in your projects page, that you did not do this. So you need to put in something like sound redesign. You gotta. Otherwise, you're just leaving room for interpretation and assumption, and it's just never going to be a good thing. It's never a good choice to leave in that kind of thing. So, and that goes for basically all of your titles. That's a big one. So it just says trailer. Like this just suggests that you did the trailer. Get it? Although I do appreciate that you're putting the studio in there, because yeah, I mean, often people just like don't do a common courtesy. Eliznick says, isn't the title of the video sound redesign? Well, maybe it is, but I can't see it right now. So that's one consideration. Like, it's not anywhere here, see? Like, it might be if I reel of the page. Redesign. So it does say redesign show reel. I didn't at all like internalize this heavily before pressing play. I just went to the play button. There's basically no downside to putting it in the title for each thing you did at all, because especially when you start having actual credits, Michael, and you want to mix in things like this, then it becomes even more important. Because right now it's obviously all redesign, but like if you had in some actual stuff you've worked on, but you want to do redesigns also in the same reel, then I mean you have to make that discrepancy, right? So you might as well just do it now. Not a huge deal, easy to fix, so no sweat. Otherwise, flow is cool, man. I liked how you moved from this stuff into Assassin's Creed right away. It was like 15 seconds. And I feel like redesigns really commonly, they just go on too long. Either the whole demo is too long, or it's or the flow kind of falters. Because the thing is, when you have a cutscene from a game or a trailer, like that standalone piece for that project, like a one trailer or one scene, like it's built with a story in mind and with flow in mind. So it's really easy for people to get it wrong, to kind of like pull parts from different trailers and stuff, or different cutscenes, and put them in a row. And then naturally you've now fragmented multiple storylines. So it's hard to keep it kind of, well, it's not that it's hard. It's that it's not going to work by default. Like there needs to be some level of attention there, right? So like here, I didn't hit it at all. Like there's like it was on. Maybe the explosion is like a J cut. It goes across into the next one. I mean, if I were to nitpick, I guess you could crossfade it, you know. But the fact that you've got this explosion right into the next thing, it's like cool. I'm right with that. And then action moves into what? Let's see this. Yeah, like movement into movement. You know, I think it works. On top, one to the left, and she's one to the left. It's cool. I don't know if you did that intentionally, but it works. And then we have the fall right here. See, there you have a fade out. So I'm curious, like, that's this one. You have the fade to black. I don't know if there's a fade to black in the original cutscene. There might be. This seems like an endpoint, so possible. But like if you're doing a fade to black there, then do a fade to black all the time. You know? Also, I hate this. Do you see this? I saw this when it happened, by the way. The weird outline appearing there. I don't know what's happening with your overlay, but it's like something is going on with this layer on the video to make this happen when the explosion happened behind it, rather than keeping it like distinct by itself. But these small details, you know. Yeah, cool. And the ending, you have the bookend. It's quick. Do you have a sound for it? You do. It's fine. Cool. Yeah, the sound is like, it's better than silence. It's not to the point of, or to the extent of, I think, you achieving your own voice with it. But it's, yeah, I'm glad you put the effort in to put sound on that thing. It's cool. Just some whooshies, you know? Yeah, so as far as material selection goes, I mean, it's pretty obvious you're looking to get into AAA. So, best of luck. I hope you're able to make it. So that's great. You're obviously very focused with the content, which people get wrong sometimes. So good on you. Yeah, no doubt in anyone's mind. That said, there is nothing that's like in game. It's all like post-production-y. Or I guess I'm lying. This is, well, it's still a trailer. So like this thing here. This looks like gameplay, kind of like being third person, you know, but it's really brief and it's still a trailer, so it's not really to be trusted for gameplay. So I think that if you're looking to get into games seriously, I know your bio said that you came from like sound editing on television and foreign films and stuff, right? So obviously you have a post-production background that's clear to see, and it's not the easiest thing to move into games from that, but a big part of that is illustrating and demonstrating that you have an aptitude for interactivity. And so this reel, I mean, we'll get into the content shortly, but just in terms of the material that's in here so far, like just the sound, the quality of the sound totally aside, the fact that it's all trailery is like kind of indicative of your past in post-production, right? So I would encourage you to look into even designing like a gameplay shot. Like even if you can't do the implementation, just having a gameplay shot design instead, because that's gonna indicate like, okay, here's like I have gaming sensibilities, and I'm going to be making choices according to what I think is best for the gameplay, as opposed to what is like cool for the story or cool for the like the presentation of this trailer content, right? It's kind of a different thing. Of course, you still have like this. It's important to like be cool in gameplay too, but it's not like just about the presentation. It's like about the interactivity too. So please do that. If I look at your portfolio content now, we'll just jump across to that for this this talking about the material selection. So now in projects, you don't have any of this stuff that's in the reel, and I guess that's okay. It's really common for people to do like a full minute redesign, like for school or something, and then they put like 15 seconds of it in their demo reel, and then people can like come watch the full thing on the main projects page if you want. So I don't know if you did that, or if the show reel content is like literally all you design, in which case, cool, no sweat. But if you did do more, then can't hurt to have it here too. The Bizarre Bazaar, let's go. Is this my internet right now? Like, what's going on? Jeez. Let's go. Okay. Mild salsa, a very chewed pencil. This is a lot of gameplay. Toad skin boots. This is cute. Yo, good loose sound. This is honestly a pretty good sounding little game. Good job. And then, like for a game jam especially. Contest entry. Treat it first. This is my entry for the August 2019. It's like just recently. A sound effect sound design competition. Unfortunately, I didn't place, but I had a lot of fun designing the monster roar for this short animation using a combination of various animal sounds and metal groans. Okay. All right. Rock on. Penguin Playhouse, Escape Studios Jam. I took part in the Escape Studios Game Jam in May 2019, and it was my first game jam since moving to the UK. Excuse me. I created the sound design and music for the stealth platformer game. The game took the prize for Best Game and won a Work Experience Day at Outplay Studios. What is Outplay Studios? I don't know them. Outplay Studios. What have you done? Outplay Entertainment? Is that who we're talking about? Like this company? Crafty Candy. All right. That's the one. The internet says it's called Outplay Entertainment, so you might want to fix that. You can read a blog post about it by Escape Studios here and download the game on itch.io. Cool. Well, let's have a look. Yo, nice. Immediately cool. This is some crazy UI though. Let's go full screen. Sorry guys. It's like crayon, that's the idea? Like a dollhouse? Oh, it's like a spotlight, I see. I didn't at all see that. Oh. This game is intense. Whoa. It's too scary. That penguin shook. Look at him. This music loop is pretty hurting though. I mean, like, there's not much sound here, right? So it's hard to. Whoa. Yeah, so here's the thing, man. So this is like this video isn't the best indication of, or not indication, the best presentation of your work on this project. This seems to be like yeah, this isn't your video, right? Or is it your video? Is this your video? I think regardless of if it's your video or not, you could, for sure, like make a new cut that is more like a 30-second look at the work you did. Because I'd be much more interested in an abridged presentation of this stuff, right? Just like in glance. But I mean, this is like a minute of like walking and boom, 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 or just over and over again. So, and eventually you got to dashing, which is like a minute into the video. So, it's not that the work's bad. Like you took the prize, right? You won it. So good job. Just a matter of it's just hard to get through. There's so much content. So much like time, but like the content doesn't justify it. It's not like appropriate to how long the video is. So that's my recommendation. But good job winning prizes, man. I mean, being out there in the wild doing stuff and winning is awesome. Good on you. Let's get into the content. So, as I said before, this content is certainly good enough that I didn't pause the video and I didn't feel the need to skip ahead. You kept things moving, and it was at least good enough that I was like, cool, like, let's see what else he's got. So, good job. That does by no means mean there is no room for improvement. I have notes, so let's get into that. I don't love commenting on like shooty games because it's not my forte. I'll probably focus on more of this stuff later on, but we'll just let this play. Yes, I mean, some of the notes we'll get there later on. I think, so really quick, I think one thing you can focus on a bit more in a general sense, we'll get into some more specifics too, but I think just in a general sense, I would encourage you to think about the story of the story being told in front of you, like in the pane of the video, right? And what is important to that story. Like your job as a sound designer is to support and drive that storytelling, right? So here, for example, like in this shot, we hear the jump, but we hear so much hooves, dude. So much. Listen to this. And only there, like when you pass by that wheel, do we hear it. It's like, I like that the pass by, the panning is awesome, but it's like, if the camera was here, if our goal here is to, like, what is the story being told? It's a story of speed and risk and danger and stealth, I guess, in a way. But like, this is not a walk in the park. You know, this is scary and dangerous, and it is action. So I think you can be, when we're moving from like this shot to the close shot, like there's the thing that got louder here was like the bell. You catch that? So like this, the bell ringing is excellent for ambience. Good job. Matt can't call you on that one, although you probably could do more ambience yet. But like these things are like, these are like wooden or like metal wheels on cobblestone. Like they're so noisy, you know? So I think you could definitely push a lot more of that, a lot more of the movement and like rumbling and so forth, like help drive that story. And even there, like the hooves are even in this shot. So it's the thing about sound design and doing design for a piece like this is that once you establish an element, like establish sound for an element in the shot, you don't really need to put so much focus on that element anymore unless it's relevant, like directly relevant to the storytelling. So, for example, in this shot opens up, and I want you to focus on like the horses, okay? The horse hooves. We hear them there. They're quieter in the long shot. We hear them again here. And we still hear like a lot of horses right now. So like this shot, it's certainly part of it, but like the horses are kind of really important the entire time, but they're kind of not the focus of the story the entire time. It's important to establish that this, yes, it's like a horse-drawn carriage, and they're zooming, but like the first time I watched this, when dude climbs up, I was hearing so much horse here, and I was like, man, these hooves are so loud. So, but really, you could probably be driving like some more of the Foley even, and like more of the motion and more of the ambience, more of the speed, right? Like the speed's way more important than like the sound the hooves are making in this specific shot. And it may be that like the hooves are in a good level, but it's just that other stuff's missing. So as a result, the hooves seem louder by relative to their other content in the same shot. So let's move on from there. And then this whole scene is a good, a great example of kind of like an unfinished redesign. It's a really, really solid, strong start, and I love the ending like crash and the fade out and stuff. It sounds awesome. But I think that your sound design is not as complex as the characters and the elements at play, as at least what the story is suggesting. So let's press play here. So right there, for example, this metallic robotic creature has all these various parts and such. Look how complex this character is, you know? Look at this. There's like the head's like severed from the neck, from the body, the tail and stuff. There's like these things hanging off of it. Like there's all this stuff here. But if we listen to your body fall, it's really singular. And even the impact too. The impact like kind of makes more sense because it's like just an arrow, like going with like thunk, makes sense regardless of where it hits. But just check out your impact. Like if you close your eyes, Michael, this is a very good. I mean, people that watched Real Talk back when we did it back in the day, Well, no, this is a very good exercise if you're doing sound design, is to simply close your eyes and try to be honest with yourself. Forget what you already know the scene to look like, and ask yourself, can I hear what it looks like? And right now, so I'll encourage you to close your eyes right now, and we'll see what this sounds like in our mind's eye, what it looks like in our mind's eye. So I didn't at all get that the thing that fell to the ground was made of metal. It almost sounds like what I heard a bow, I heard a shot, I heard an impact in metal, and then I heard like something maybe like leathery or like clothy hitting the ground and like hitting dirt and like and sliding a bit. But it didn't sound at all like it was a hulking like amassment of like metal parts, you know? So this is what I say, like it's really common. This is a very, very common symptom in redesigns. And it's kind of a hurdle that you are tasked with getting past, because a lot of people who are up and coming, who have histories in post-production or like coming up just in games alone or anything, it's kind of regardless. Like if they don't have work experience yet in this environment, it's very common to start with nothing, so with silence, and then design like 30, I mean even less sometimes, like 20 to 50% of what should probably be there if you were shipping it and playing it like at E3 or something. Like they'll do 20 to 50% and be like, wow, this is like so full of sound now, because of course you started with silence, so it sounds like really great by comparison to silence. But it's just a matter of just training your ear and being honest with yourself and saying, is this actually like fully complete? Because this is what I describe as being like very strong broad strokes, but you are just lacking a lot of detail. And it's kind of throughout the entire piece. I think your first clip is probably the best in that regard, but there's definitely still room for some more detail. So yeah, like all the metal parts is one example. What's the ground made of? Like, is there like stone? Like there's boulders and stuff too, right? So it's not just a single like dirt slide. Like it could be hitting stone and like bouncing off and stuff, rattling. Maybe pieces fly off and like fall in, like maybe a part breaks off and like flies into the bush, right? There's a lot you could do with this. Well, there's debris flying, right? So we'll keep watching here. Here we go. So this thing is running. Look at that. This past shot. Let's close our eyes again. Like I didn't hear any indication of anything moving in that shot. There was just a shot and it hit metal. So again, just think back to the story of what's being told, right? And support that story. The story is there are these running beasts and a hunt is underway. So again, that broad stroke is there. You've got the action plot points, the draw, the shot, the impact, and the fall. But like everything in between is like there's no connective tissue in the sound. It's kind of like on this bed of ambience in the forest, but there's nothing connecting the storyline, or very little at least. Alex says, maybe I've been listening to too many source sound trailers, but I'd love to hear some more cinematic style and more abstract sound design to emphasize movements and impactful moments. It sounds like you've created the sound effects to support a full mix with the music. That's not a bad assessment either. Although even I would argue that it would still not be enough if there was music also. The music would need to be pretty damn banging to like support the current sound design. And you've got that movement there. There it is, see? Right here? Like there's some, at least. You have like the jing jing. I love the kutung, like the breakdown of transients is nice there. I did acknowledge that the first time watching it. That was cool. But then same thing here. Close your eyes, Michael. 3, 2, 1. It's that is maximum 2 impacts. Gudung, right? But this should be a much more multifaceted impact. There's like it's kind of like a snaking, like a. So but it's like a bit of a pung, like a bit of a head slide, like shunk, and that's it. So a little more detail in there yet. So I'm curious what the original sounds like here, because I feel like this is again. So think about your mix, dude. So you've got like the kind of part of it, right? And then this thing happens, but the is still pretty prevalent. This might be like a subjective thing. I don't know. I'm curious what the original sounds like. But like, it almost sounds like it's powering down at that point. I feel like the jet is almost taking over at that point, and it's like a different, it's a different story point as opposed to like we're still and a jet also. It's more like no now we're like it's getting serious now. It's like design this jet thing by itself. So it just feels like a little more like you are. It feels like you're designing what you're seeing without thinking about what it means and what the story of what you're designing actually is. Moving on. Good example of room to dig heels in with design. This is so detailed, like we're up so close to it that we've got like the different, like this little kind of articulation of the thing like sliding off this chain link, right? We hear the pung. So this is, it's been established. We are hearing this right now, despite being in slow motion. And we have a tunk afterwards. So that could be like a stylistic choice, but I feel like we could have more there. Like this is so detailed. We're so close that this chain breaking and sliding off is like the entire story of this shot. So let's dig into it, you know? That shot had the same sound from the cut to cut. So we have this falling cargo container. It's the same. Little trick I love doing is to, if I can do this on the fly, probably not. But the thing is, I should just have this ready, like as I frequently, this comes up so much on Real Talk when we do it. When you have a big impact of something, it's a fun little trick to have like a before it, just to have some idea of motion, and it helps to can I do this? Can I go like this? Okay, paint. Let's go. So if you want to have like a transient, right? Here's your transient, right? Big transient, or even bigger if it's like this kind of transient. It's like big for a long time, squash, and then tails off. All right. So here's your transient. You're good to go. If you want to make the scene really big, you can have like a whoosh in, and then go to nothing. And then as a result, so it's like, and the drop to nothing is like, boom. It makes it sound much louder, sounds more impactful on the actual transient moment, right? If you go like that, then this transient is completely lost, and you'll often find you're doing a disservice to yourself. So in this case of this thing falling, this cargo container, we kind of have like this like groaning and creaking, and that almost suggests like a preamble to a fall, where it's like just something. That sound doesn't sell motion to me, is the thing. It seems like almost, but something like air movement like that would be great. It's a brief silence and into the transient would be great. And besides that, on our, well, I mean, it's like left. It's a bit stereo in general, but like you gotta, it's pretty wide, and then when you change shots, it's still as wide as it was, despite the camera coming out and other things in front of us, right? We can have that. Okay, moving on. You probably push that impact farther too. Like it's a bit like general impact right now. Again, close your eyes on this impact. It's like, but we're seeing it. It's like big impact and it falls towards us. And there's clearly like another big impact happening right away, right? Right there. But I'm not sold on the size of the impact. Just kind of sounds like general debris tumbling and stuff. So all this comes down to, like, this is really strong as far as the start goes. You can just dig into details more, dig into telling the actual story, and don't be afraid to like be a little more like specific on what you're looking at, like with that chain, like with this fall, like with the parts of the animal, etc. So on the whole, this is a great example of a reel I would love to see again. So if I came back to you and said, hey, cool, but how's your implementation? How's your gameplay aptitude? And I'd love to see more details on your design. And you're like, you got it. I'll be right back. Can you come back in like a month or 2 months, something like that? And say, hey, here we go, V2. I'd be like, sweet. I'd drop everything and watch it right away. So keep going. I don't think you're quite like standing out in a crowd yet. I mean, your page is like, it's fine. But I mean, it's just a very like template kind of page, right? Doesn't need to be fancy. If your content's good and it's clean, then it's fine. So your page is fine, but nothing's really being like, yo, like take notice. It's just good. So I think that with a little more work in those details, you could definitely be standing out in a crowd. So kick ass, man. Thanks. Jason DeSante, what up? Love your streams. Well, thanks. It's been a long time since there has been one, so thank you for rolling on in. That waveform low-key shows Kevin's love of aggressive limiting. I suppose it did, didn't I? Kind of showed my hand. Ooh, it's a silence before the drop. Exactly, you got it. That's literally what it is. That's what dynamics are. All right, let's go into settings con. And I'm rusty on watching my minutes. Victor, I apologize. So I'll try and get all your feedback in here before we run out of time. So we'll zoom in also. Zoom in 150. Cool. Here is settingscon.com. Settingscon. I don't really get your name, by the way. I never really have understood your handle. So perhaps we'll learn something today. Sound designer / freelancer. Twitter. Cool. Main works contact. All right. Excuse me. We got demo reel. We got about. Oh, this is one page. No, the different pages. We have about down here. There's like a lot of stuff on your main page. I would put this stuff on another page, dude. 3 is not a lot. You could easily put bio on like an about. And sound design is my trade. And like maybe that stuff on the same about page. I don't know. Probably. Let's have a look. There's a lot of stuff to look at. About settings is an alias that Victor Rodriguez Silva has been using to name his characters and profiles for over a decade. Originally from Sao Paulo, Victor has always been in love with 2 things in his life, audio and games. After battling through Music University, ongoing Bachelor of Music and Conducting, audio engineering programs, that's in Vancouver, that's why I thought I knew you, and attaining over 4 years of experience inside the audio industry, multiple post houses, he feels it's time to merge his passions and use his powers for the greater good. Sonically transform gamers' lives. I think the word 2 could go right here. Sonically transform Yerma's lives. I'd say too sonically would make that felt awkward to me. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Moving down. Here's you with the boom mic or shotgun mic rather in class. It would seem with some cool headphones. Maybe these ones. It's very possible. Matt says, bit crazy. Like, yeah, I got here and I was like, whoa, this is so nuts compared to up here. But let's soldier on. Sound design is my trade. I can deliver any sound effects you need for your game. If you're not sure what you need, I can totally help with that as well. I can take care of the audio implementation with Fmod or Wise, or whatever other solution we can come up with. I can mix your project to create an immersive world and an impacting experience. All right. Bold claims, my friend. Well, maybe. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, cool. So moving on to multiple backgrounds. What's that mean? Let's find out. Over the years, I had to wear many different hats. Performing, composing, designing, recording, editing, mixing, mastering. Okay, sure. Tech, bold and generic, Matt says. Well, he's not wrong. Definitely not wrong. But I feel like when you're doing this kind of stuff, it's hard to be like really original. I mean, like power-ups page is like not a great example of that either, to be honest. Like services. I mean, it's basically our page. Like, not saying you like ripped us off. Of course, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that like we are equally guilty of that kind of thing. We are experienced professionals. Wow, professionals down here. We are experienced specialists. We are passionate gamers. We are energetic professionals. Like, you know, I don't know. It just feels like it's got to be there. Multiple backgrounds. Tech head. I absolutely love gear. Thanks to my time inside recording studios, I have a solid experience managing signal flow, operating analog gear and software, taking care of the rig. I'm able to learn the ins and outs of the studio in no time. Great. Lazarus, thanks guys. Had to bow out because it's really late here. Well, thank you for staying up late. But we'll catch the rest in the morning. Peace and love. Looking forward to V2. Looking forward to seeing it, pal. I hope it goes well for you. And I hope things helped. Okay, I played a lot. That is an understatement. So something that bothers me, man, is like this. Like these headings are all like different tenses and stuff. Like multiple backgrounds is a noun. Well, adjective noun. Tech head, noun. I played a lot is like a phrase, and then passionate is an adjective. And that bothers me. Again, maybe just me. But and also there's no black thing behind this. Like this title is different than these ones. I also just don't really like this black title thing in the background. This seems like a different approach than your main stuff. Like this is a different font. This is very minimal and stuff. I like this design. And then you've got this thing, which is like, okay, fine. The font is now different. It's like a new style. And then again, the white instead is a new style. And there's like the drop shadow text here, and then like the black background with no drop shadow here. So it feels like you are absent direction. I just use a website template. Yeah, I mean you're not alone. A lot of people do, but I think that it's still important to think about direction in general. And it's not even a taste thing. It's like just having a focused idea of like what you want. So having your fonts under control, having like what's the what the frick is his name? Danny Quinn. Like his page. I gave him some. This was when Bjorn was on, I think, Bjorn Jacobson. And his page is like really kind of cohesive. Like everything looks the same. You know, it's like really. This tells me that he knows how to have like an idea of a framework of like a design, and to work within it like a container. So, although I did give him crap for his entire bio being, oh, he fixed it, nice, good job, Danny. This whole text used to be all caps in this font, and I hated it. It was hard to read. This like triple A was all this A, and it was just funny. Yeah, this is just very good. It it instills confidence that if you can have an idea of like a visual direction to stay within, like a design direction, that you could also apply that same aptitude towards a sound direction too. So it is kind of, it's not like directly relevant to sound, but there are parallels there. So yeah, shouts to Danny Quinn, by the way. Thanks, Danny, for your cameo on Real Talk. Let's go to contact really fast here to see what's up. Looking forward to see your game. Seeing is probably better than see. I recognize your first language is likely Portuguese and not English, so no sweat. But seeing is probably better. And then interested in my services. Questions. Want to show me your game? Think you can beat my link at Smash Bros Ultimate? Yeah, it's like sure. This is the age-old question of like, do you make jokes on your first meeting or like your first impression? And I don't know. I think like learning things like I love Smash Bros Ultimate is like a cool thing to know, but like it's not in your resume. Maybe it's fine. I don't know. It walks a line of being like maybe unprofessional, but I don't know. You have this kind of casual feel throughout the rest of your page too, which I kind of like, but like I like this phrasing. It instills it like I can totally help with that as well. Like this kind of thing just shows me it's like casual, but you're serious. So maybe it's your style. I don't know. Works. We'll glance and then watch reel. Oh, demo's still there. Cool. Player 1 wins the round. Oh, classic. Classic Tanks Unity project. And then also a Cyberpunk redesign. Also Last of Us redesign. This is whoa, minute and 50. Let's go. Okay, well, let's watch the demo reel. Number 1. Is there a number 2? Let's go. Whoa! Also, whoa. Thank you for watching my number 1 demo reel. This is a crazy thing, dude. I truly appreciate it. Let's move on to the details. Too long, didn't want to read. I recorded, edited the video. I designed all sounds. I mean, I assumed you did these things. That's very common. I designed all sounds. I assume that also. Except for music in The Last of Us 2 trailer. Just take it out. Relying heavily, not completely on listening to sound libraries. Relying on sound libraries. I mean, this is all, everything here is to be assumed. You don't need to say basically any of this. Also, Alex says Cyberpunk and Last of Us be high bars to hit. I agree. Also, 219. Victor, we're off to a shaky start. A lot of text, too. Holy crap. So much here. Also, shouts to Power Up Audio and Firelight Technologies. I mean, I do appreciate the additional content here. I think it's like, if people want to read it, they can. If they don't, then they don't have to. This doesn't fit in the page right now. But yeah, this here, I when I watch a demo reel like this, a redesign reel, I assume all of that. So I don't think you need to have it there. Like at no point did I assume that Michael Clarke didn't record and edit the content in some way, that he designed all sounds and that he used sound libraries and mixed it too. Like I assume all those things are true. So, hey Victor, what's up? Yeah. So, whatever. Moving on. Let's watch this video, and also, if you're unfamiliar with the show, if this is likely going to lose my attention, it's 2.5 minutes long almost. So if I ever have a feeling like I want to skip, I will pause the video and tell you that is my feeling, either to like leave the video entirely or to skip ahead. And I'll just tell you, and then we'll watch the whole thing for the sake of the show, and then I'll come back and tell you why perhaps I would have skipped there or left there. So let's watch this thing. Okay, so I have serious concerns, but this is an interesting example, dude. I don't want to skip ahead because I'm just curious what is happening in this video, but this is crazy. We'll come back and talk about it, okay? Let's go.
Come on.
Hey, don't forget, we leave at first light, so get some rest.
Yes, sir. You're such a dick. Come on. Don't you start with me. Okay, I have a very serious question for you.
Okay, I'd now be skipping ahead again. Let's keep going.
How bad do I smell?
Yo, that's sick. That was fucking crazy, man. Okay. First up. All right, so my UI disappeared. Let's get back up again. That was nuts. That was a. This I regret not having more time to talk about this because there's so much to talk about. Okay, so Victor, this is like. There is some really good stuff in there, man. Honestly, I hope my laughing doesn't come off as like as condescending or patronizing or anything. That's not how I mean to come across. I'm laughing because this is just surprising in its presentation. So this, okay, let's go through it. Like, how do we do this? So let's go criteria again. Presentation alone, this is too long, definitely. If you, man, how do I start here? We've got like the opening sound redesign stuff, cool. Then we have implementation, cool. Then we have this like, what was the heading for it? Cinematics. I would encourage you to craft your demo reel to be like the only thing someone will watch, and that it will give them all the information they need to tell them about what you are good at, what you want to be doing, what you have done, and leave it at that. Because this is a bit of a, I don't want to sound mean, it sounds a bit like a junk drawer, where it's kind of like, here's all this stuff I did, and it's really cool, and I'm proud of it, and it's like, and here you go, and just like dump it on the floor, and it's like, it's all there. And it seems a little bit kind of, I think it's an apt analogy, because like if you dump your stuff on the floor, there's probably some cool stuff on the floor, but like there's no real organization to it, so it's kind of leaving a little bit of an element of chance up to what the people might who are looking at this thing, what they might focus in on. Whereas if you have like a minute total and you focus it really heavily on like flowing from one thing to the next, and you this is your best stuff, then you're going to feel much better knowing that they're seeing exactly what you want them to see. Whereas with this, it was kind of a mix of me like wanting to skip ahead because things weren't moving fast enough, or I felt like I'd seen enough. And it was that, but then the other end of the spectrum, I felt like I wasn't seeing enough of stuff. So it was like, it was too much and also not enough, but in the same video. That's why I'm laughing. It was so, it's very unusual. I'll put it that way. We'll go into the opening, for example, this gameplay footage. So the heading of gameplay footage is not very indicative of what we're looking at. it's like, I understand it's a redesign exercise, but like just call it your reel, man. Like this is kind of this implies like you're just doing like practicing. Like yeah, I think that you could just call it your demo reel. I mean, I assume, so the thing is, we're looking at this content assuming that this is your primary piece that you're submitting in a job application, right? So if that's the case, then things like number 1 is irrelevant. It's just your demo reel, period. There's nothing else that I want to see besides your demo reel if you're applying to my company or to Naughty Dog or to Supergiant Games or whatever, right? I just want to see this first. If I see this and it's sweet, then yeah, I'll want to see more. But until then, all this stuff here, I won't care about. It's important you have it, but I will not read this before I watch your reel. No one will, period. Furthermore, few people will read all this stuff and all this stuff before just watching your demo reel, because people have limited time. So it's really important to use this time really, really wisely, which is why 2 minutes of kind of scattered ideas is just, it's bold. It's a bit of a scary move. Just risky move, right? So gameplay footage, this can go away. We're just wasting time. These clips, they flew by so fast, man. And the thing about this is when you have clips flying by this fast, do you recall what I was saying to Michael about the story element of sound design? You're not giving any time to tell any kind of story with any of this stuff. So even if I did like some of the sound design in here, some I thought was not as well informed, and I wouldn't make the same choices. But of the sounds I liked, I didn't hear enough of the game to know if it fits in with the larger arc of the content. And you don't need much. Like 15 seconds is plenty to give an idea of like what the soundscape of this bite-sized project piece you have is. But we're talking like 3 seconds in some cases here. Like, and we're out. Like, I started laughing on Stardew Valley. I was like, whoa, because Valhalla, so stuff, I was looking at this stuff. I'm like, okay, cool. I was like, oh, no, we're done. We're out of that. And now into this. And it was such a hard, and then like we hit some trees and it's like, okay, moving on. It's just like, so it just seems like you're just trying to shove all this stuff into this finite amount of time. And it feels like you might have this mentality like you don't have much time, so you need to put more things into the time. And that's, if that's what you're thinking, I understand that motivation, but there's a balance to be struck there where, yeah, it is important, yes, to have like just this much time and then putting in like your best stuff, because you want to make sure that you're not wasting people's time and they do watch your stuff, right? Like the Real Studio 13 in the chat says their first submission was like 9.5 minutes long. There you go. So that's like, no one's gonna watch that whole thing. There's no way. 2.5 is like pushing it, and I watched it out of curiosity. But so I think you should choose your favorite piece out of this stuff and have like a bit of an arc to it. You know, have some, if you're doing Bastion, yeah, like have some combat, have some UI, and just like show what your idea of that sonic palette looks like. Because this brief piece is not enough. Stardew Valley, same thing. Like we hit some trees and that's kind of it. Like you didn't do anything else that is central to Stardew Valley's gameplay. So yes, please just do a little more of like, yeah, like Transistor. Like here, this is one shot, dude. Like this tells me nothing about what, like what you're right. And this is arguably cinematic, but this just tells me nothing about your game's sound design aptitude and your sensibilities. It's just a single 3-second clip of a motorcycle, right? So, this sounded cool. Dust Force, I liked it. Good slides. The high pitched stuff was maybe a little bit piercing, but otherwise cool. And like that didn't sound bad either. You know, it's a bit noisy, but like it was cool. And this is so much better, even those like 5 seconds, to tell a story of combat. Like there's some, it moves from like one level of intensity. Like there's different stuff happening, right? So even in this 5 seconds, I feel like we got more of an idea of what your sonic palette was for this project, for this redesign, than, I mean, of course, than like Transistor. I have no idea what this whole game sounds like from this one single clip, you know? Because again, think about what you're doing when you're applying to a job. You're asking someone to trust you with handling the sonic direction of a project. Your page says you want to get in touch to do projects. Your reel tells me nothing about what kind of projects you want to be doing. I mean, this is like, you know, pixel bartender game. We've got Stardew Valley. We got Bastion and Transistor. Great games, obviously. Dust Force. It's like, it's all indie stuff. This is like a bit less indie. But, and then we have these implementation things. Good. Game Jam thing. Good. Fmod thing. Good. Glad you're using it. I'm glad someone's using these things. But then cinematics, like, also it's just one dog. Not dogs. Naughty Dog. This is like, just lose that entire piece. It's not doing anything for you. This is crazy, man. This is a good shot. I was watching this like, whoa, where'd this come from? Let's go. Like, yo, this is storytelling, yo. It's crazy. And there's some things in the mixing that I would shift a bit to deal with like masking problems and stuff. But like, this piece it held my attention so hard. I was like, whoa, crazy. And the opening pieces made me think, whoa, crazy, for like a different and maybe undesirable reason, you know? So, and moving on to Cyberpunk, let's watch that too. Like, that isn't the trailer, right? You're doing like cuts. I'm almost certain it's not the original trailer. You're making cuts there, and it's cool to have that kind of like action-packed montage of chaos and stuff. I'm into it, definitely. I think it's very interesting. There you go. My bad. So it's like, this is sick and good job, but like, again, do you want to work on AAA stuff, or do you want to work on indie stuff? Because it's in the same trailer, and I have no idea. And your website says things like, "I can do your game," you know, I can take care of the whole thing. So I just don't know what you want to do, and I think that it's important to dig in your heels hard on what you want to be doing, and to like figure that out, right? Because maybe you don't even know. That's fine too. Yeah. So the gist is, make like this opening, man. Like I think you're being like, you just need to focus harder on what you want this video to achieve. Because right now it seems like it's very scattered in its delivery and presentation, and also in what it's trying to communicate. Because like this ending, you have this like really like high def sound going on with the Final Fantasy stuff and Cyberpunk stuff. And then you've got like this intro though. Listen to this. That is so like incongruent with this design. It's crazy. Like so that's why I got to this and I was laughing, because this came out of left field, man. Like, it's crazy. So yeah, I think some is super. And the thing is, it's so hard for me to like tell you what to focus on and what to work on, because there's like, I didn't get anything from this opening. Because it's so scattered, and like this stuff I assume is most recent. Like, I mean, you're in the chat, like you can just tell me right now, like, do you want to work in AAA or do you want to work in just a freelance capacity, or what do you want to be doing? Because like this is, I just don't know, and that's probably a problem, you know. And by the way, sorry for being terse on the voice acting stuff. It's just that like the original voice acting is good. Everyone knows this trailer, and it's really not going to help you that much to try to re-record voice actors and to make them do the same shot again, because you're not, I mean, just in your current position in the industry, you're not going to have access to talent that are on the same level as the talent that are in the actual game, and it's just not going to be as good. So it's and it's just not showing your skills. Like, you recorded some people and put it in the game, like in this 10-second shot. Like, it's just not going to help that much. So I think that you can just ditch this entirely. It's just taking up space. This is cool though. This section's awesome, man. Voice recording. I didn't even acknowledge there's voice in here actually, but cool. And skinny punk head screaming. I mean, again, this all goes into like this kind of thing. Like, I made the sounds. Like, I sure hope so, you know? So it's, you don't really need to say like this kind of thing in the title card, or the lower third rather. It's just not really important. You can I will assume that you were responsible for that sound one way or another. Okay. I don't really want to get into like your specific sound that much, because I just don't know what to focus on. But like I think it's cool that you're doing the Fmod stuff in Unity, and let's have a listen to this actually. Okay, one thing is your listener is like, I mean, I'm not sure how much you have control over this in this demo, but surely you can move the listener, right? I haven't done it myself, but right now the listener is like right in the middle of the shot, like on the ground. And as a result, their moving is like hard left and right. Whereas us, the players, we're back here, right? So all the action is in front of us. So if you look at a game like Celeste, which you have looked at, you'll notice that things like dashing, all the movement, dream block things, they have 3D like spatializers, right? They have like object, well, not object. They have 3D spatializers attached to the sounds, and that's because it's a 2D game. We still have 3D sound. The listener's like back from the plane of the game, and then we have this like left to right stereo field as a result, right? But I wouldn't want the listener to be like on Madeline, because then we'd hear things to the left when Madeline's like standing to its right, like beside a campfire. It's like right here on our left ear. That doesn't make sense based on our perspective as a player. So it's important to think sometimes, like, is the listener, is the protagonist, is the player controlled character's listening position the same as the player's listening position relative to the gameplay? And it almost never is. It's very common. It only makes sense for like first person shooters, right? Like the camera is the eyes of the player, and the ears are on the left and right. So moving on. We're a bit over time here, but this is really crazy. I wanted to talk about it. So let's watch this Fmod thing too. That's my sound. The landing. Is it? Maybe it's not. I don't know. I think it is. Yeah, so like I mean, like, I did the sound design for this game, right? So it's hard for me to tell you like, oh, well, mine's better. But the dash, I put so much time into the dash sound because it's the #1 most heard sound in the game. And the thing about the dash is it's important to, back to the story of things, I like to think of the story of things more than just like the grand story of the game or of the shot, but like the story of that bite-sized moment. And in terms of movement in Celeste, that story is, I should have it right on, give me a second. That story is, of the dash specifically, is movement from A to B, right? So how do we convey that movement in a single small sound? And in this case, your sound is like this. and your sound is It's of course not that specifically, but it is like that's the foundation of it. It's So the tone of it, like the tonal center of your sound, isn't moving, and as a result, if I hear that by itself right now, closing our eyes, it is a bit it's a bit samey from each one, like each one of the consecutive subsequent plays of the same sound. And samey, unfortunately, doesn't really convey movement. It conveys nothing's happening, like nothing's changing, because it sounds the same. But in truth, the position of the player is changing, so it's not appropriate entirely to telling the story of a dash, right? So if we got like the dash sounds, I have them right here actually. We've got dash red left. This might be loud because I'm playing it full volume. That's fine. So it's a small detail, right? Same thing with red. Right? So you have a similar kind of like onset, like, because it happens right away. That was good for you, although yours is a little bit abrasive. It's a bit noisy, but the onset's important because yes, it's a feedback, like input, like player input driven game. It's like very, you want it punchy right now. It's like a Twitch platformer, but the movement aspect's kind of missing. So that's one thing I think you could think of a little more in the future as far as what sounds mean, and then trying to like build that into what you're designing the sound. Like is a movement of pitch, and that kind of reflects the movement of the player character. Cool, just an idea. I think I might leave it at that. It's like 5:40 right now. So, but for sure, if you have any more questions or, sorry, the last thing I want to say is that you did say you want to work on indie stuff. I saw you answer that in the chat. You say, I want to work as a freelancer on ideally indie games. So cool. That said, this piece and this piece and this piece do not say that. They say quite the opposite. Because if you're redesigning AAA content, that is the message you are sending is, this is what this scene or this clip would sound like had I been the sound designer on this project. And your goal in doing this is that you want them to think that you are just as good, if not better, than the original, or just different, right? But with these, this is not different than the original.
So get some rest.
Yes, sir.
I mean, how could it be different? It's just some people talking, right? So it's not going to be as good, and it's not going to be as good. It's not going to be better or as good, right? It's going to be student-y. So that's where we ended up. So then this thing is sweet. It sounds awesome, man. It's totally crazy. But it's not saying you want to work in indie games. So I think, so at the time you're a bit desperate, want to try everything, haha. Sure, that makes sense to me, totally. That's what I was saying. Like it smacks of like, here's a junk drawer, here's everything, and just see what you like. But I think that you're at a point now where some of this sound design is definitely strong enough that you can be leaning into more like goal-oriented territory, that you want to be working in indie games specifically, and then do redesigns that are, that are accurate to that. And there's certainly indie games out there that are more high def, like more in this realm than others. Like heck, like Phantom Brigade, for example. If you want to do like a redesign, not to like push your own stuff, but like this is an indie game, and it looks like this, right? Like this is not. It's not like pixels. There's no pixels, guys. It's not like pixel art. It's, of course, more high def. So you could redesign something like that if you wanted to get a little more high def with your redesign, right? Like there's a lot of indie content that is still like in the kind of like triple I of indie stuff, and that might be worth your time too. So up to you. So I think overall, distinction-wise, this is standing out for like maybe the wrong reasons. It's just kind of crazy and seems scattered. And I will recall this because it's so unique. But I think you should still be digging in harder into what you want to do specifically. All right. Thanks, man. I'm gonna call it right there. We're already a bit late. I'm kind of unsurprised because I'm rusty. I'm not good at watching the time. So thank you everyone for tuning in and chilling out. And I hope we'll be back next week. We'll see. That's how I'm feeling. But that was actually really fun. I really enjoyed coming back and doing another stream. I've missed doing this stuff. So thank you again. I'm gonna play some freaking Alex Barnhart out. And we want some Loam? Let's go Loam. Let's go. All right, thanks, pals. And I will see you next week, probably.